Welcome to the True Grime Stories podcast, where in every episode, we'll unravel a new mystery of cleaning business transformation from a grimy mess to a great success. Join me, your host, Jeannie Henderson, as together we dig up cleaning business secrets that you've been dying to know. Welcome, everyone, to our next episode of True Grime Stories. I think you're going to be glad you're listening today. We are going to be talking to another really amazing and successful cleaning business owner who went from having a grimy mess and is now experiencing great success. So let me tell you all about her. Her name is Denise Scates, and she is the owner of Kidwell's Cleaning in Frederick, Maryland. And I've known Denise for some time now and just have been so impressed watching her journey. She started Kidwell's Cleaning in 1990. So she's been in the business for a while, longer than I have for sure. And they focus on residential and commercial cleaning services. She's really passionate about building a team with top talent. And she started cleaning herself in 1990 and began hiring about 8 years later. And she shared with me that, initially she really didn't have any idea how to manage a business. And so, as many of us do, we find out that this business is a bit harder than we thought it was going to be. So welcome, Denise. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you.
Good. Well, thanks for being here. Really excited. When Denise and I were talking before we got started today, she shared with me her former tagline for her business. Can you share that, Denise?
Take a bite out of grime.
How appropriate. So get ready, everybody. That's definitely going to be part of the marketing for this podcast. Thanks to Denise. But I love it. So appropriate. So Denise, we love to start out here at True Grime Stories, kind of understanding what your grime scene was like when you were running your cleaning business and you realized that there has to be something better. What did your business look like then?
My business had many vehicles. I had about 7 or 8 cars. I was paying hourly. We worked in crews of 2. I didn't have a business motto I was following. I was simply kind of trying to figure out what other franchises were doing and just kind of doing that. But it got to the point where the teams weren't working and I couldn't pay high enough hourly any longer because of inflation and the pandemic. And it just started to get a little bit out of control for me.
And so how did it feel? How did you feel when you were at that point? What was your personal life like when your business was kind of not in the perfect model?
Well, like I said, it was right after the pandemic and all my vehicles were starting to get wear and tear and I was having to fix them. And I just got a little discouraged and I told my husband, I remember telling my husband I'd been seeing the CBF program. And I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I should join, will I benefit from it? I don't know. And I remember the discussion and he's like, you should join. If this is the last hurrah, join. What can it hurt? Because I didn't know if I wanted to continue on any longer with the business. And I didn't know what else to do because this is what I've been doing my whole life.
Yeah. And, I've had that feeling before. As a matter of fact, I had that same experience with the vehicles where it almost becomes a full-time job managing your fleet of cars. It was my husband's full-time job actually back then, and taking him for oil changes and getting the tires changed. And there's a flat tire and so-and-so's broken down at this house or stuck in a snowbank. And so I feel your pain in that regard. And I remember the first time we met, you were considering selling your business, right?
I was considering selling it or just stopping it. I don't know if I even had a sellable business at that time because I didn't even have a CRM. So I don't think I realized what a mess I was at the time. I just knew something was wrong.
Well, I remember you were working very, very hard. You were the only person running your business. And how many customers or how many technicians did you have at that time?
I might have had 10. And it didn't even occur to me that I should hire anybody, that I needed help. It didn't even, for some reason, I just thought this isn't working anymore. I never thought to hire anybody to help me in the office.
Were you able to, at that point in your life, were you able to take time off or take time away from your business, go on vacation?
I was, because I would have a really good manager cleaner come
Mm-hmm.
in and take over for me, and she did. So I was able to do that, but not very often. I only went away once a year, and that was
Mm-hmm.
my big thing. I would never consider going away any more than once a year.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember those days of going on vacation and like watching my phone the whole time I was gone and, that kind of thing. And, you know, you amazed me though the first time I met you because the amount of work that you were getting done as one person, I'm sure you had no idea, but you were probably the most productive business owner I'd almost ever met. So you were getting a lot done.
I was working I was working long hours, but I had an organized way of doing things, and I had been doing it for so long, so it was kind of second nature to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you were doing it well. It was just amazing how much you were getting done. It was very productive. So, when you realized that you wanted to do this, and kudos to your husband for supporting you in making the decision to get some help. What was your next step? What did you do at that point?
Well, I joined CBF, and literally, I think it was 3 years ago, and then 2 weeks after I joined was the retreat.
Mhm.
So I watched the modules real fast, probably not even like as well as I should have. I was just trying to get it under my belt. I went to retreat. I saw immediately all these things that I had been doing wrong immediately, and I was like, oh my gosh! And it wasn't, it wasn't difficult things. It was just things that never occurred to me, that I never thought of, because I wasn't a business owner. I just fell into the position. So I got a little bit overwhelmed. I came home and I immediately implemented before I had anything in place. I remember doing, payroll by hand, figuring that out by hand. I didn't have anything in place. I wasn't tech savvy. So, but I just kept at it. It was a tough year or two, and I just kept at it.
Yeah, and I remember meeting you during that time when you were implementing, and one of the things that I've mentioned to Denise before is like I've never seen anyone implement at the level that she did as well. You didn't mess around. You got through the modules and then you just picked your starting point and you just went. A lot of people sit back and wait. They take a little extra time and you are all in.
Well,
Um,
I was all in. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. So thinking back on the changes that you made, I mean, I remember you were doing everything by hand. I'm sure there were lots of phone calls, lots of text messages going on, lots of moving pieces. What was one thing that you implemented it, and when you implemented that one thing, that it was like this change that you really, really needed, and it kind of freed you up. It was like it broke through a bottleneck that allowed other changes to work and come together.
I mean, I don't know. The only thing I can say is just following the CBF model.
Mhm.
That was it. It changed everything by following the CBF model. I don't know if you need something more specific than that, but I I mean, getting rid of my vehicles, you know, solo cleaners,
Mhm.
and the pay
Yeah.
was
So,
great.
well, we can talk about that. So the difference between having vehicles and not having vehicles. So, how did that help your business grow? Because a lot of times people will say, well, I love having vehicles, especially the people who like put advertising on. Did your vehicles have advertising on them?
Yes, yes, they did.
I bet they were fantastic
It
looking.
it was a prideful thing. I didn't realize how big my ego was, because I would love to go park my vehicles perfectly spaced in the same direction. And I just would look at them. And then when I got rid of the vehicles, I was doing so much better financially, but I didn't have that. I felt like, oh, I didn't feel very successful because I couldn't see my vehicles lined up. And I was like, I had no idea how big my ego was involved in those vehicles. So
Yeah, it was kind of your sense of pride. It was your, here's my business.
yes,
Because our businesses tend to be somewhat invisible, right? You know,
except for those cars. Yeah.
except for
Yeah.
our cars, right? So I can feel that, what that would be like. But, so how much time does it save you
Oh
to
my
just
goodness.
not have the vehicles? And how much money does
Oh
it
my
save
gosh.
you to not have the vehicles in your business?
Well, incredible amounts of money and incredible amounts of time. For at night, I would take my cars in and drop them off to the mechanic. I'd have to pick them up during snowstorms. I live on a little mountain. My husband and I would have to take all the vehicles down to the local Target parking lot to park them so that the cleaners wouldn't have to come up my hill. I used to have to wash and wax them all the time, and I used to do the laundry. So I was doing laundry 3 times a week. I would go to the laundromat. I messed up we're on water and sewer here at my home, and I really messed that up. I had to pay thousands of dollars to fix that for doing so much laundry at home. So then I started going to the laundromat 3 times a week. So when I was able to get rid of the vehicle, stop doing laundry, it gave me so much more time to be able to put systems and processes in place so I could scale. And that's, I scaled very fast, probably too fast. But I don't know,
That's a good problem to have, right?
a
It's
very
like,
good problem to have.
right.
I love not having my vehicles. And I love not having to do the laundry anymore.
Yeah. And that's kind of those things, the things that you were talking about earlier. You jump into this training program, Cleaning Business Fundamentals, and Debbie Sardone is teaching you these business strategies and systems. And they seem so simple, yet, you'd been in business for a long time and had not figured out the right equation to have a business that was smooth running, that could grow without your constant attention. And, when you have vehicles, somebody's got to be taking care of them all the time. They demand a tremendous amount of attention.
They
And
definitely
do they
do.
have do they have the same marketing value that people think they have?
They had pretty good marketing value, but what I did was I never advertised any other way. So I took what I was saving and I put it towards Google ads, Nextdoor ads. I did other things that, I get a lot more business doing it that way. It was great. I had, people would see my cars and I'd get some work from it, but the marketing that I do now is completely different, and I get a lot more leads from it.
And is it easier on you?
Oh my gosh, yes. So much easier. I was on the verge of having to buy all new vehicles because my vehicles were so old. So and then when I sold them at the top of the market.
Oh,
And
nice.
so
Bonus.
yes, it was a bonus, but yes, so
Yeah.
much easier now.
Right. And, think about that. I hear from a lot of people, well, I have cars because everybody sees them and that's how I get business. But if you take the amount of energy that you're putting into that, the amount of time that you're putting into that, and then the amount of dollars that you're putting into cars, and you take that and you put it into your team, investing in your team, investing in marketing, and then it doesn't take nearly the time, and you can actually outsource some of that, and then you get so much time back.
Oh my goodness, so much time. So much time. I still have 2 cars that are wrapped, and I have one for myself that I
Mhm.
drive, and the office person, she does the estimates, she drives the other one. So we still have 2 cars, but not for the cleaning techs. It's
Right.
for when we go out. And so we're still kind of advertising that way.
Sure. Yeah. And I still have one too, just for backup, and we use them for events and things like that. So
Great.
good. Well,
Yeah.
this has been so great so far, but I have more questions for you. But I want
Okay.
to take a little break right now. And so we can let everybody learn a little bit more about this amazing CBF that you're talking about. So we're going to hear a little advertisement from Cleaning Business Fundamentals. Is your cleaning business a grime story? There's no need to stay stuck in the muck because you're not alone. With over 500 active members and more than 500 graduates of our Cleaning Business Fundamentals program, CBF is the #1 cleaning business academy in the world and has created more mop-free millionaires than any program in the industry. Learn more and let CBF take your residential cleaning business from a grime story to a gleaming success. All right. Well, we know that CBF can really help people make great changes to their business. And you were talking about, that maybe you implemented a little too fast and you grew a little too fast. I think that's an important lesson to learn, because especially you were in business for a long time. And I think that probably the desire for change was so great, like, I just need to do this right now. So what are some things that you learned that could help somebody else understand, if they're jumping into a training program like Cleaning Business Fundamentals, how to space out the work, or, what were some of the challenges that you ran into?
I think my challenges were unique to me. I had no CRM. So not only did I implement immediately, but I had to learn a CRM immediately. And I don't think I realized how difficult that would be doing those two things at once. But I think the majority of the people with cleaning services already have a CRM probably. So
I
that
still talk
was
to a lot of people who don't. Yeah. I still talk to a
really,
lot of people who don't. Yeah. You had a very large business though for not having one. I will
no,
say.
I don't know. I was afraid to learn new things. So
Yeah.
that was probably a little bit of it. And then, what was the question? I'm sorry.
Oh,
How,
so the challenges of implementing, because you said you kind of implemented too fast. So what would you tell someone who does want to make some change to their business? Like maybe they're out there and they're hearing this and they have cars, but they want to make that change and, make changes to their teams. What
well,
are some things that you learned?
the one other thing I wish I had taken the time to do is to roll out the program a little differently to my cleaning people. Uh, nobody likes change, including my cleaners. And I felt like I did that very poorly. I could have done it so much better, but they were skeptical. And I just wish I had gotten coaching help of how to implement that and how to let the cleaners know, how beneficial it is to them. Everybody did do it very hesitantly. And after a month, they loved it. But the beginning, they were like, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. And so it was a little bit tricky.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is, when we're trying to make change, sometimes we assume that people aren't going to like it. And so then we talk about it in a way that almost makes them not trust it too, because we're afraid that they're not going to like it. But yeah, so that's a really great piece of advice. I think everyone is resistant to change. It's a human condition. And we know that our teams are going to be, so we have to sell things to our teams and our clients, the same way that we have to be sold that it's going to work, and the best way to sell to people is tell them what's in it for them, and make sure that they clearly understand it, and get them excited about it, but you did it and you proved it to them, and now it's easy probably to sell it now, right?
It is, the one thing we struggle with is the it's hard to tell the new people how to read their paycheck. So we find we have to bring them in like the first couple times to go over that payroll spreadsheet and how they're getting paid. That's it has to be made very clear, and they need more support in the first month that they're here.
Yeah. And you're doing exactly what you need to do. That's excellent leadership. We have a very unconventional job, house cleaning, and the type of pay that we teach in cleaning business fundamentals, which we call empowered pay. It's very unconventional for the unconventional job. And it does take some education, but if we help people understand that it's special because they're special, um, you know, giving them that extra attention, that's exactly what you should do. So that's awesome that you're spending that extra time with them. We can't expect people to understand something the first time we tell it to them. As a matter of fact, how many times did you have to listen to Debbie in the modules to understand how to pay people, right?
Oh my goodness. Yes, I've listened to the modules 3 times, and it's like layers and layers. You hear things when you need to hear it. You can tune things out when you don't need to hear it. But it's like the Bible to me.
I get it. Mine is my cleaning business Bible. It's full of Post-it notes and highlighted, and yeah, I refer back to it all the time. And that is so true. The cool thing about cleaning business fundamentals is it's good for a business at any level. Your business was a pretty big business. You had 10 employees, when you got started, but I mean, I'm always jealous of the people who find it before they even get started. I mean, that's amazing, if you can do that, because then you never have to change anything. You can just start with the right systems right out of the gate.
Oh my goodness. They're very lucky. They're very fortunate.
Yeah. Yeah, I always tell people, like, you're so lucky you found this before you got started. And because my business was structured very similar to yours. I was doing everything on paper. My teams were not efficient. They were wasting all kinds of time, especially because I was paying them hourly, which is a disincentive, right? To go quickly and to be efficient. And I was giving them a car that they would purposely get lost so that they would get paid more. So my business was very, very similar. So your story resonated with me. And I have loved watching you grow and watch your business just blossom after you implemented all this. And I know it was hard work, but it seems to have really paid off. So what are some of the results that you're experiencing growth-wise?
Well, I mean, financial, of course.
How much bigger are you? 50% larger than you were before?
I'd say I don't know. I'd have to look at the finances, but I'd say
How
at
many
least
people are on your team now?
There's 14 now. And I'm focusing now on not really growing, but more like making sure my systems and processes are really good. I did hire an office person, and it's been wonderful. Thanks to you. You were the one who were like, you got to hire someone and do it now. And I did. And I was scared, but I didn't know what I was doing. But she just happened to be the right person. And now she takes care of most things. I have my duties. She takes care of the office stuff. I have a lot more time now, so I've been able to take care of sick relatives and not miss a beat. And that's been a godsend, is being able to take care of my family when they need me and not have to pay a price for it. I've been able to go away without, I have had a true vacation where I don't have to sit down in the evenings for 2.5 hours to work. I've always had to do that when I went on vacations. And now I check in and see how things are going. And I just have a lot more time to do things. And I'm very, very grateful for that. I think about the laundromat, and I don't miss that. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so nice.
Did you have friends at the laundromat?
Oh yeah. I learned how to, yes, I went, and there was a Dollar Tree next to the laundromat. So I spent a lot of money,
Oh, right. Oh my goodness. That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when you hired your office assistant, and I could see such a change in you. Like just so much tension came off, you just look so much more relaxed.
Definitely. I mean, it took a long time to recover from where I had been. even, before CBF. I was probably burnt out a couple years before CBF. So it took a long time to get back to where I was happy, but I feel creative again. I'm happy. I want to do fun things. I'm having a company picnic next month.
Oh, that's
Trying to
awesome.
figure out little games to have, and I just feel good about it again. And I was like, maybe I won't sell it right now. Like, why would I? So
That is so, I just love that. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. That's what it's all about. We, as entrepreneurs, we start our business to have something that serves us, right? Provides for our family, is better than working for someone else. But then we end up being the worst boss to ourselves than anyone ever would be, right? We slave drive ourselves, and now your business is serving you, is serving your family, is providing, but then it's also giving you freedom to spend time with your family when you want to or need to, do special things for your team, and I love that you love your business again.
yes, I love that too. I'm very grateful for that as well.
Yeah, that is so wonderful. I think that's a great takeaway for today, is that if you're listening today, if you're out there and you're in the cleaning business, or you're thinking about starting a cleaning business, often what we see people do, entrepreneurs in almost any field, they get bogged down and stuck in the weeds, and they kind of lose their love for their business. And if you really want to love your business again, Denise has proven that the way to do it is to find help. You do not have to go it alone. And I learned that right away. What was it like the first time when you went to retreat, CBF retreat, and you walked in the room and, there's probably a couple hundred business owners there. Was that the first time that you'd hung out in a room full of cleaning business owners?
Yes, it was a little overwhelming. I wasn't expecting, I didn't know what to expect. I was like, I'm going to sit up front so I can learn the most I can. Well, that was the party crowd. And I was like, oh. I was
Oh,
like,
yes. There's a party crowd in every group, right?
oh yeah, they're dancing. And I'm like, oh boy, I'm not a dancer. I think I'm going to sit back next tomorrow, So.
Oh, that's awesome.
But they were very energetic, and I didn't know what to expect, but I just grasped on to everything I could and learned as much as I could. It was so much information, and I loved it. It was a lot of information that I've never heard of. It was so helpful. And the only regret I have is I just wish I had done it sooner. I wish I didn't waste so much time thinking of, is this going to work? It's too much money. The benefits that it provided me far outweigh the cost. And that's the one regret, is not doing it sooner.
Yeah. I think we all tend to overthink, we think, well, maybe I'll figure it out by myself.
Mm-hmm.
But once I got into this, I realized that I could have been trying for decades and never figured it out by
That's
myself,
right.
right? Why not shortcut it? And truly, like we often say, I was 3 feet from gold, and often many of us are. Well, it sounds like you really solved your grime story, and no longer living in your grimy mess. So now that you've built this success in your business, what do you hope for the future for you, your family, your business?
I personally, I don't know if I want to grow too much more. I think I would love to have more time to enjoy my family. My kids are older now, and I'm in a new season of life. I'm an empty nester. I would like to just have more time to take a few long weekends and see a little bit more, make up for lost time things I didn't do before.
And now you can.
Yeah, I can now. And I'm very,
Yeah.
very grateful for that. The one thing I wish I had done too is gotten a coach right away. I got a coach, but when you're spending so much money on what seems to be so much money on the program, you're like, oh my gosh, do I have enough money for a coach? But that just having someone to talk to, like, it'll save you. It might be the difference between throwing in the towel and sticking it out until it works, you know? So that's the one thing I wish I had done as well, you know, is having a coach on a regular basis.
Well, and like what you said there, a lot of us worry about what the coach will think, and I mean, I remember feeling that way when I first met Debbie. Like, I'm embarrassed to let her even see inside my business and what a
Yeah.
mess I'd made, and how I wasn't coping well. And so it's good to know that all of our coaches in CBF have been through it. And all of us started out with broken, messy businesses. We all had our own grind scenes that we had to clean up first. And we still are all like working on the new devil at every level as our businesses continue to grow. And so people should never worry that the coach is judging, because number one, the coach has met a lot of cleaning business owners. And what you've gone through, Denise, is just so similar. It's not that it isn't special, but it is. Everybody kind of,
Typical. Yeah.
right? We all struggle with change. And so it's very normal to feel that way. And a coach can just be that sounding board so that you just aren't going through it alone. So the people who are struggling with it, it does pay to get some extra coaching. And that's great. I love it. Since we started that in 2020, now we have enough coaches that everybody can have a private coach at one time or another, where when we just had Debbie, that was impossible. So,
Right. I can imagine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, Denise. And I want to thank you. It's been a joy to work with you here in CBF. I loved getting to kind of learn about your business and work with you as a coach, but also it's just been a true joy to watch you build the success that you have and the freedom that you have. So thank you for sharing that with us today. I hope you had fun. And thank you so much.
Thank you. And thanks for everything.
Yeah, no,
Thank
my joy and my pleasure. And thank you everybody for being with us today on this episode of True Grime Stories. We hope to see you next time here at True Grime Stories and learn how you can solve your own grime story.
Bye.
That's a wrap on today's True Grime Stories. Thanks for joining us in uncovering the secrets of cleaning business success. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and download, and check out our show notes for links and info from today's episode, and to learn more about our sponsor, Cleaning Business Fundamentals. Join us next time as we solve another True Grime story.